My love is unique. No one can rival her. Just by passing, she has stolen my heart. These are not the words of a modern poet, but of the most powerful man in the ancient world, Pharaoh Ramesses the Great. He inscribed them for his queen, Nefertari, a woman so beloved that he built her a final resting place of such breathtaking beauty that it is known today as the Sistine Chapel of ancient Egypt. This is the story of her tomb, a masterpiece hidden in the Valley of the Queens, and a pharaoh's ultimate love letter written in art and stone. Part 1. A queen unlike any other. In the long and storied history of ancient Egypt, few queens command as much reverence as Nefertari. As the great royal wife of Ramesses II, who ruled for an incredible 67 years during the 19th dynasty, Nefertari was at the very heart of Egypt's golden age. Her name translates to the beautiful companion, and while her beauty was legendary, it was her intellect and influence that truly set her apart. Unlike many royal wives of the era, Nefertari was not a mere consort. She was an active diplomat who could read and write hieroglyphs, a rare skill, and corresponded directly with other powerful rulers of the time. Ramesses' adoration for her was unprecedented. He didn't just give her titles, he deified her in her own lifetime. At the magnificent temple complex of Abu Simbel, he built a grand temple for himself and a second, equally beautiful temple right next to it, dedicated to Nefertari and the goddess Hathor. In a radical departure from tradition, Nefertari's statues at this temple were carved to be the same height as the pharaoh's, a stunning public declaration of her equal stature in his eyes. When she died, Ramesses commissioned a tomb, known today as QV66, that would be more than a burial place. It would be a divine machine, a work of art designed to guarantee her glorious rebirth as a god. Part 2. The House of Eternity, Discovery and Design. For over 3,000 years, Nefertari's House of Eternity lay sealed beneath the Theban hills, its entrance lost to the shifting desert sands. Then, in 1904, a team led by Italian archaeologist Ernesto Schiaparelli made a discovery that would stun the world. They uncovered the hidden entrance to QV66. Upon entering, they found what they had feared. The tomb had been thoroughly plundered in antiquity. The sarcophagus was smashed, and any gold, jewelry, or precious objects had been stolen centuries ago. But as Schiaparelli and his team ventured deeper, their disappointment turned to absolute awe. While the material wealth was gone, the true treasure of the tomb remained untouched. Every wall, every ceiling, every pillar was covered in breathtakingly vibrant paintings. The colors were so vivid, the lines so fluid, and the artistry so masterful that it looked like the artists had just packed up their tools and left. Schiaparelli knew he had found something special, not just another royal tomb, but a perfectly preserved masterpiece of New Kingdom art, a sacred space where the love of a pharaoh and the faith of a nation converged. This is the story of her tomb, a masterpiece hidden in the Valley of the Queens, and a pharaoh's ultimate love letter written in art and stone. Part 3. The Painted Walls, a Guide to the Afterlife. To walk through Nefertari's tomb is to follow her spirit on her perilous quest for immortality. The paintings are not decorative, they are functional, a visual instruction manual based on the sacred spells of the Book of the Dead. In the Antechamber, we first meet the Queen. She is always depicted in her prime, idealized in a flowing white linen gown, her beauty radiating from the walls. Here she makes offerings to a pantheon of gods who will aid her journey. Osiris, the ruler of the underworld. Thoth, the god of wisdom, who will record her judgment. And Anubis, the guardian of the dead. It is here we find one of the tomb's most iconic scenes. Nefertari is seated, playing the board game Senet. For the Egyptians, this was no mere pastime. The game's 30 squares represented the path through the underworld, and winning symbolized successfully navigating its dangers and achieving eternal life. The painting is a magical guarantee of her victory. The artistry is unparalleled. The painters of QV66 used rarely seen techniques. They employed subtle shading to give the figures a sense of three-dimensionality and life. The range and vibrancy of the colors, particularly the famous Egyptian blue and the delicate flesh tones, are breathtaking. As we descend the staircase, the walls are covered with protective deities and hieroglyphic spells to ward off any demons or obstacles she might encounter. This leads to the main burial chamber, the Golden Hall. The room is designed to overwhelm your senses. 4 massive pillars dominate the space, each painted with the figure of Osiris, the god of resurrection. The ceiling is a deep, dark blue, covered with thousands of golden 5-pointed stars, creating a perfect replica of the eternal night sky of the Duat. The walls of this chamber depict the final, most important chapters of her journey. We see Nefertari being presented to the gods, her heart being weighed on the scales against the feather of Maat, truth, and, having lived a virtuous life, being declared true of voice. The final paintings show her ultimate destiny. She is merged with the sun god Ra, destined to be reborn with him every single morning at dawn. She is no longer just Queen Nefertari. She has become the divine Osiris Nefertari, an immortal being forever Annie. Part 4. A fragile masterpiece, a legacy almost lost. The discovery that revealed Nefertari's tomb to the world also nearly destroyed it. The moisture from the breath of early visitors and the dramatic changes in humidity and temperature caused a catastrophic reaction. Salt crystals, dormant within the limestone walls for millennia, began to dissolve and recrystallize just behind the plaster paint layer. As these crystals grew, they physically pushed the delicate 3,200-year-old paint off the walls, causing it to bubble, crack, and flake away into dust. The masterpiece was dissolving. By the 1980s, the situation was so dire that the tomb was closed. An international team of scientists and conservators, led by the Getty Conservation Institute and the Egyptian Antiquities Organization, undertook a monumental 6-year project to save it. They painstakingly cleaned the walls, removed the damaging salts with paper pulp poulitzes, and re-adhered every loose flake of paint. It was an incredible feat of science and art preservation that saved the tomb from oblivion. Today, to protect its fragile beauty, only a small number of visitors are allowed inside for a very limited time each day.
Imagine finding a 3,200-year-old masterpiece hidden deep beneath the desert sands. A sacred chapel whose walls are alive with colors so vibrant, so pristine, they look as if they were painted yesterday. This place exists. It is not in Rome, but in Egypt's Valley of the Queens, and it was built not for a pope, but for a queen, as an eternal testament to a love that even death could not diminish. This is the story of QV66, the tomb of Queen Nefertari, widely considered the most beautiful tomb in all of Egypt, the Sistine Chapel of the ancient world. The Queen, for whom the sun shines. To understand the tomb, we must first understand the woman for whom it was built. Nefertari was not just any queen. She was the great royal wife of Ramesses II, known to history as Ramesses the Great, one of the most powerful and prolific pharaohs of the New Kingdom. Her name itself means the beautiful companion, but she was far more than a pretty face. Nefertari was highly educated, able to read and write hieroglyphs, and she played an active role in diplomacy, corresponding with other rulers of the ancient world. But above all, she was deeply loved by her husband. In an era where pharaohs had many wives, Nefertari was clearly his favorite. Ramesses II covered monuments across Egypt with her image and his words of adoration. At her magnificent temple at Abu Simbel, built alongside his own colossal monument, he had inscribed for all eternity, "My love is unique, no one can rival her, for she is the most beautiful woman alive. Just by passing, she has stolen my heart." At her tomb, his poetry reaches its zenith. She was the one for whom the sun shines. When Nefertari died around the 24th year of his reign, a heartbroken Ramesses began construction on a house of eternity for her, a tomb so magnificent it would ensure her triumphant journey into the afterlife and stand as his final, ultimate love letter written in stone and paint. The discovery of a lost paradise. For over 3 millennia, Nefertari's tomb lay hidden, its entrance buried by sand and debris. Its location was lost to time until 1904. The Italian archaeologist Ernesto Schiaparelli was excavating in the Valley of the Queens when his team uncovered a set of stone steps leading down into the earth. As they cleared the entrance, they realized the tomb had been breached and plundered in antiquity. Its treasures, the gold, the jewels, the sarcophagus itself, were long gone, with only fragments remaining. Schiaparelli likely expected to find a desecrated, empty shell, but when he stepped inside and raised his torch, he was met with a sight that left him breathless. The robbers had taken the gold, but they had left the true treasure. The walls of the tomb were covered from floor to ceiling in the most spectacular, perfectly preserved paintings he had ever seen. The colors were electric, the artistry was sublime. He hadn't found a looted tomb. He had discovered a hidden paradise, an artist's masterpiece sealed away for 3,200 years. A journey through eternity. The tomb of Nefertari is not just a collection of beautiful images. It is a sacred map, a visual guide based on the chapters of the Book of the Dead, designed to navigate her soul, or Ba, through the perilous trials of the underworld to achieve eternal life. To walk through the tomb is to walk with the queen on her final journey. The journey begins in the antechamber. Here, the walls depict Nefertari, always shown as graceful and beautiful in a diaphanous white gown, making offerings to the gods who will be her guides: Osiris, king of the underworld; Anubis, the jackal-headed god of embalming; and Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom. The art here is remarkable. Unlike the flat, two-dimensional art typical of many tombs, the artists who painted Nefertari's walls used subtle shading and sophisticated techniques to create a sense of depth and realism. Nefertari's skin is a warm, radiant tone. Her cheeks are blushed. She appears not as a static image, but as a living, breathing presence. One of the most famous scenes in this chamber shows the queen seated at a table playing a board game called Senet. This was not a leisure activity. It was a crucial part of her journey. The game of Senet symbolized the passage of the soul through the underworld, with each move representing a stage of the journey. By depicting her playing and winning the game, the tomb ensures her success in navigating the trials to come. From the antechamber, we descend a flight of stairs, a physical representation of her descent into the duat, or underworld. The walls of the stairway are covered in protective deities and powerful spells. At the bottom, we enter the spiritual heart of the tomb, the burial chamber, also known as the Golden Hall. The site is breathtaking. The vast chamber has 4 massive pillars, each painted with the figure of Osiris, embracing the queen and welcoming her into his realm. The ceiling is a deep, celestial blue, covered with a blanket of golden 5-pointed stars representing the sky of the underworld. The walls are a symphony of color and text, illustrating the final crucial chapters of the Book of the Dead. Here we see Nefertari's soul judged in the Hall of Two Truths, where her heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice. Because her life was virtuous, her heart is light, and she passes the test. She is declared true of voice and is granted eternal life. The final scenes show her ultimate transformation. Her soul merges with the sun god, Ra, to be reborn each morning with the dawn. She has become one with the gods, an immortal being, forever beautiful and powerful. She has reached her house of eternity. Race against time, saving a masterpiece. After Schiaparelli's discovery, the tomb was open to the world, but this exposure nearly destroyed it. The influx of tourists, the changes in humidity, and the fluctuations in temperature activated a dormant threat within the limestone walls: salt. Water vapor caused salt crystals to form just beneath the surface of the plaster. As the crystals grew, they pushed the delicate 3,200-year-old paint outwards, causing it to flake and crumble into dust. The Sistine Chapel of Egypt was literally crying itself to death, its beauty dissolving before the world's eyes. By the 1980s, the damage was so severe that the tomb was closed to the public. An international emergency was declared. In 1986, the Egyptian Antiquities Organization and the Getty Conservation Institute embarked on one of the most ambitious art conservation projects in history. For 6 years, a team of the world's best scientists and conservators worked painstakingly in the tomb. They devised a method to gently remove the salt using paper pulp poultices and stabilize the flaking paint millimeter by millimeter. It was a heroic effort that saved this wonder for future generations. Today, access to the tomb is strictly limited and incredibly expensive, a necessary measure to protect its fragile beauty from the very presence of humanity. Conclusion. The tomb of Nefertari is so much more than a burial place. It is a pinnacle of New Kingdom art, a sacred guide to the Egyptian concept of the afterlife, and one of the most profound monuments to love ever created. Ramesses the Great marshaled the finest artists in the land to build his beloved queen a portal to eternity that was as beautiful and unique as he believed her to be. He succeeded. While her mummy and her treasures are gone, her essence, her journey, and his love for her remain immortalized in the vibrant colors and divine images on the walls of her perfect house of eternity. The tomb of Nefertari is a treasure of human civilization. It is a deeply personal monument to the profound love between a pharaoh and his queen. It is an artistic masterpiece, representing the absolute pinnacle of Egyptian painting and craftsmanship. And it is a sacred theological map, offering us an unparalleled glimpse into the ancient Egyptian vision of life, death, and eternity. While the tomb's gold was stolen by robbers long ago, the true treasure, Nefertari's journey to the stars, powered by the love of her king, remains on the walls for all time.
You may have heard of Nefertari's tomb, the breathtaking Sistine Chapel of Egypt. You know it was built by a loving pharaoh for his queen. But the true secrets of this masterpiece aren't just in its beauty. They are hidden in a patched-up wall, in a pair of disputed mummified knees, and in the very chemical makeup of its paint. Today, we go beyond the surface to uncover the facts about Queen Nefertari's tomb that are hidden from plain sight. Secret number 1. The enduring mystery of the Queen's knees. When archaeologist Ernesto Schiaparelli discovered the plundered tomb in 1904, he found it mostly empty, save for fragments of the stone sarcophagus and, remarkably, a pair of mummified human knees. For over a century, these were assumed to be the only mortal remains of the great queen herself, and were displayed as such at the Egyptian Museum in Turin, Italy. But this fact was hiding a major question. In 2016, an international team of scientists decided to finally put the matter to rest using modern technology. They conducted radiocarbon dating, DNA analysis, and chemical tests. The results were shocking. While the embalming materials were consistent with the 19th dynasty, the bones belonged to a woman who was likely between 40 and 60 years old at the time of death. Historical estimates often placed Nefertari's death at a younger age. Furthermore, the DNA was too degraded to provide a conclusive match. The science revealed a mystery. Are these the knees of Queen Nefertari? Or did they belong to another royal family member, perhaps a daughter, placed in the tomb later? The only confirmed physical remains of the Great Queen are now an unsolved historical puzzle. Secret number 2. The Pharaoh's Blueprint Error. The tomb of Nefertari is a monument to perfection, a masterwork of planning and artistry. But hidden beneath the plaster of one wall is a very human mistake. In the antechamber, as the tomb cutters were carving out the chamber, they made a significant error. They accidentally broke through the rock wall and into the adjacent tomb, QV68, which belonged to Queen Nefertari, a daughter of Ramesses II. This was a major construction blunder. The workers had to quickly seal the breach, patch the wall with plaster, and then paint over it as if nothing had happened, hiding the mistake from view. This small, corrected error is a fascinating secret hidden within the tomb's perfection. It reminds us that this divine house of eternity was still built by mortal hands, by workers who could make mistakes, miscalculate, and have a very bad day at the office, even when working for the most powerful man on earth. Secret number 3. The power hidden in her full name. We all know her as Nefertari, the beautiful companion, but this was only part of her name. Her full royal name was Nefertari Merit Mut, meaning the beautiful companion, beloved of Mut. That second part, Merit Mut, is a crucial political and religious statement that is often overlooked. Mut was a powerful mother goddess, the divine consort of the king of the gods, Amun-Ra. By explicitly naming his queen beloved of Mut, Ramesses wasn't just expressing affection, he was elevating Nefertari's status to a divine level, directly linking her to the queen of the gods and the power she wielded in the Egyptian pantheon, a fact asserted on nearly every wall of her tomb. Secret number 4. The tomb as a political statement. While the tomb is often framed as a love letter, it is equally a powerful political document. The paintings are filled with Nefertari's official titles, many of which are hidden in plain sight within the hieroglyphic texts. She is repeatedly referred to as Lady of the Two Lands, signifying her authority over both Upper and Lower Egypt. She also holds the title God's Wife of Amun, a position of immense religious power that effectively made her the spiritual head of the most important religious cult in the nation. The sheer scale, expense, and unparalleled artistic quality of the tomb were meant to send a clear message to the royal court and the Egyptian elite. Nefertari was not just a beloved wife, she was a figure of immense political and religious power, and her divine status in the afterlife was absolute and non-negotiable. Secret number 5. The ghosts of many artists. The tomb's art is so cohesive that it's easy to imagine it was the work of a single, lone genius.
but close analysis of the painting techniques reveals a hidden secret. The tomb was the work of several distinct teams of artists working simultaneously. Egyptologists can identify the hands of different masters based on subtle variations in style. For example, the way the outline of a figure is drawn in the antechamber is slightly different from the style used in the burial chamber below. This reveals that the creation of the tomb was an assembly line of genius. One team may have specialized in carving the reliefs, another in drawing the black ink outlines, a third in painting the hieroglyphs, and several others in applying the vibrant colors. This hidden fact doesn't diminish the artistry, it enhances it, revealing the incredible level of organization and project management required to create such a seamless and unified masterpiece. Secret number 6. The chemical secrets in the paint. One of the most stunning features of the tomb is the vibrant, almost luminous color palette, especially the famous Egyptian blue. This pigment is itself a hidden wonder. It is one of the world's first ever synthetically produced pigments, created by heating quartz sand, copper, and a calcium compound to a precise temperature. This was advanced chemistry that other civilizations wouldn't master for another 1,000 years. But scientists studying the tomb's plaster have discovered an even deeper secret. Analysis revealed that the artists were masters of their materials. In some areas, to create different hues or textures, they didn't just use standard pigments. They finely ground colored glass, or frit, and mixed it into their plaster and paints to achieve unique reflective qualities. The secret hidden in the walls isn't just the art. It's a testament to the advanced material science and chemical knowledge possessed by the artisans of Ramesses the Great.